For those of you who don't know me and might just be dropping in, my name is James Whitelaw. I'm 57 as of this year, 2025, and I started animation a little later in life. When I was a kid, I obviously was brought up, well, maybe not obviously, but I was brought up on Disney and such, and I loved it. But after school, there wasn't any animation. I'm in Cape Town in South Africa, and there wasn't any animation to speak of back in those days. So I went straight from school. We had to do national service, did 2 years in the army, and then went and studied. And I studied engineering. I did land surveying, and I worked at that until I was 30. So I've got no background in the arts. I did art in school, but not in high school. Always been drawing, always been creative, always loved, always pull these out, and yeah, I've loved my Tintin. Was probably my very first love, but always. So I've got a whole stack over there, a whole pile of them, and yeah, there was never a chance when I was growing up. There was absolutely no chance of getting into anything creative or in the arts industry. So I didn't ever get to do that. I went and studied engineering instead. So at 30, I went freelance, and I left my job, and I'd studied 2 years of graphic design, and I went out on my own, and I started working for publishers and doing things like book design, illustration, doing a lot of maps, and also I started doing some animation. So I worked with guys. Back then it was 3D Max, Autodesk still around, still a fantastic program, and I worked with some guys doing some building models, doing advertising work, etc. We were also working on a series for the States, and that was my real first endeavor in animation, my first exposure. That went on for a few years. Time flew by. I got very busy with what I was doing, which was illustration. I've been doing that since then, so 27 years. And then just around COVID, let's call it about 7 years ago, 2019, 20, when I turned 50, just after I turned 50, I decided I've really got to give this animation thing a better, more time and give it a better chance. I'd left animation, all the 3D stuff, and what I'd done since I was a kid is written a lot of stories and created all these characters and all these stories or whatever. So I decided 7 years ago, when I just turned 50, that I needed to really try and get some of this stuff out. I'd made some comic books, but nothing had seen the light of day. Nothing had been published. I wasn't even on YouTube, and that was 7 years ago. So I got on YouTube probably 5.5, 6 years, maybe coming up on 6 years ago, and I started putting stuff up on YouTube. I actually started putting up illustration work. I started a channel doing illustration, and then later on, so that's why it's slightly less time than 7 years ago, later on, maybe 5.5, 6 years ago, I started putting up animation work. And I've been doing it ever since. So what I wanted to try and get across, and this has become a bit of a rambling thing here, but it's a bit about me. What I wanted to try and get across is that, well, two things. Basically, you're never too old to switch or get into something that you want to do. I've wanted to do this for a long time, and you're never too old. I'm 57. When I started, I was 30, and I could have got straight into animation. I could have followed through with that 3D work and doing what I'm doing now, which is more on the 2D side. So one, you're never too old to do this, and secondly, it's never. Well, let me just put it this way: I've got no ambition to go and work for a studio. I've done some smaller jobs for certain channels and stuff. But we've got 2 big studios here in Cape Town. I've got no ambition to go and work for them. What I want to show with my channel is what you can do independently. So I'm creating all this stuff. Nobody helps me. I'm doing it alone. With the bigger projects to come, I'll probably get some people in to help me. We can get funding or whatever. But I just wanted to show you guys my journey. I'm documenting it here for you guys who come in later. You can follow me to see how far I get, and because I've got all these great ideas, and well, I think they're great anyway. And I've got all these stories that have been sitting in these drawers of this big desk that I've had for over 30 years. And I'm trying to get them out into the world now. So that's my story. That's where I'm coming from. No Disney background, no art school, no animation training, all self-taught. The OpenToonz I used because I was actually, I was looking for a 2D program just to get going, something free. And yeah, I actually was angling at TV Paint, and I was on my way, which isn't free, but it's a very good deal. And I was about to buy it from the French company TV Paint that sells it, and I came across OpenToonz. Otherwise, I would be with TV Paint now. But that's another thing I want to get across in my channel. Although I've got an OpenToonz course, and although I use OpenToonz, I also use Blender, and I'm free to use anything. I'm not specific to OpenToonz, and I want to get that across as well. Is that you'll be exposed to, there'll be stuff coming up in the pipeline in the future maybe, or you'll be able to look on the internet and get some free stuff, or maybe you're using some of the paid stuff, whatever, to do your work, to do your animation, to do your illustration, to get your stuff across. That to me is not the important thing. Although I do a lot of tutorials on OpenToonz, maybe in the future I'm doing tutorials on something else. Maybe I'm making courses on something else. That is not what this channel is about. This channel is about following, well, it's for you guys. It's about following me and my journey. I'm self-taught. I have a background not in animation. I have a background in engineering, and I came over to this side later in life. So for you guys that are looking for something maybe inspirational, if you want to call it that, I don't know if I would call myself inspirational, but if you want to be encouraged to go for something that you really want, if you've got ideas that you want to get across in the animation format, and if you, like me, are slightly older in life, and maybe at 40, 50, whatever, I was 50, and although I was 30 when I changed from engineering to illustration, at 50 I've now gone into animation. If you need encouragement, and if you need to see somebody doing that, that's what this channel is about. So I'm just showing, on this channel, I'm showing all the stuff that you guys see, all the technical stuff, and tutorials, etc. My courses are about OpenToonz because I'm using it. It's about, the second one's about locomotion, about the bundles. I use templates. I created templates when I started out, just so that I could make movements like walk cycles repeatable. That's what the template's about. That's the only reason why I made them, and now that's become a second course. And then I've also been working on a film for almost the past 5 years. I started off as a short. It's the Painter on Safari, and short, and it's going to end up probably being between 40 and 60 minutes. So it's probably not going to end up being a short. And the third course is about that, and that's making a short animated movie, although I might have to go and change that name. So that's what this channel is about. It's just me, my journey, and if I can inspire people, anybody, to go on this path. It's not about getting work in the industry. The industry is pretty fickle. It's about producing your own work and getting your own content out there. That's what I'm trying to do here, and that's what I'm just chronicling, or just putting on YouTube here, so anybody who's interested can follow and see that it's possible, and maybe you got some really good stuff that you want to get out in the world. Well, go for it. And I'm just trying to show my path so that you guys can see it. It's possible, and B, it might be slightly inspirational for you. Okay, I think I've talked a lot. I'm looking at this, it's about 12 and a half minutes. I meant to talk for about 4 or 5 minutes, but this is going out totally unedited. As I say, it's nice to have a bit of quietness here, although it is lonely. The dogs are at dog school, so I thought I'd just chat to camera for a while, and while I can, and then get back to work. Okay, guys, as always, thanks very much for all the support you give me. Thanks very much for dropping into my channel and watching this, and I hope I'll see you again. Keep animating out there, and all the best.